So, okay, I've been talking about audience. Now, audience is, content, value, audience. It's one of those catch-all terms that basically says everything and it means nothing. Audience is the people that you want to reach, simple as. Traditional market, traditional segment, all that kind of marketing speak. But if you think about it as an audience rather than market, it becomes more personable. You want to please your audience, you want to help your audience, you want to guide your audience, entertain them, etc. So you need to ask, who do you want to reach? But it's not good enough to ask, who do you want to reach? Who do you really want to reach? Now this is where you can really kind of like get into it a little bit and have a bit of fun. So say, for example, you wanted to reach young adults, teenagers to young adults. Well, that's great. That's a target. That is an audience. Perhaps with traditional marketing, that would have been good enough. But now, it's not. People kind of like fragmenting all the time into like little groups. You really need to understand what the people that you are trying to reach are into. What are they interested in? What are their problems? What are their questions? What don't they like? If you kind of like give kind of like video to kind of, I'm biased, I know. If you give video to people that aren't interested in video, then they're not going to engage with that content. So the best way is to just start with, you don't have to kind of like go into a massive marketing research campaign. You just need to think about 2 or 3 personas. So you need to kind of like look at, how old they are, the gender, the typical demographic information. Make it up. Literally make up kind of like from a stereotype that you've seen or kind of like can think of. But make sure there's more than one so you can ask questions. Will persona A like this content? Will this actually address some of their problems? Will this actually address some of their concerns? Okay, will persona B find this content so informative or entertaining that they'll want to share it on? Will persona C get in contact with us? Is this kind of too informal or is it too formal? Are we hitting the right balance? Now, one of the things with marketing is you go to where the people are. That's one of the corner rules. Standing still, you don't get anywhere. You've got to go out and reach people. I think we all know that. But another thing that I heard at a workshop is the phrase, people buy from people. Now, I know necessarily we don't all have something to sell, but it's the same kind of idea. Now, I am a business person, so I work in kind of like the private sector. And I know that if somebody refers somebody to me who might need video, I am a lot more likely to actually close that deal or close that sale because of somebody's recommendation. If it's a cold thing, if it's somebody that I just meet at kind of like a networking event or online or just kind of like just cross them in terms of the internet, it's a lot less likely because they don't know me or they don't know somebody who knows me. So this is an important idea to kind of like think about with content. Sometimes the best ways to reach people are to hit those people who are already engaged and whose audiences overlap. So your content might be relevant to their audience because you share that same audience. And that can be an even better way of leveraging. You get people to recommend you, in essence, recommend your content. This is really valuable. I've read this. I think it's great. Okay, so you need to reach this audience. You need to make sure that content delivers rather than delivering content. Delivering content is quite easy. We've got loads of tools now. Email, social media, posters, blogs, websites. The list goes on. But you need to make sure that the content that you're creating delivers for you. As I said before, it can be quite a time-intensive process at the beginning until you get into the rhythm and the ways of thinking. So you need to make sure the content delivers. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we make sure our content delivers? Understand that every person in your audience is going through a journey, and they'll be at different stages of that journey. And this, on the screen, is basically a summary of those key stages. So the first stage is where somebody is completely unaware of a problem. They don't know it exists. They're going through in blissful ignorance. That's probably me half of the week. But at this stage, you can tailor content to make people slowly aware of a problem. But it doesn't end there. You don't have to just kind of like make people aware. You can basically go through to the next stage of the journey. Okay, so I've got a problem. I didn't even know I had a problem. What do I need to fix here? What do I need to look at? And again, content can be targeted at this stage. List the problems, identify them, use real life stories, use made up stories, use anything you like to basically make people aware of what needs fixing. Now, this isn't that different from traditional marketing. The journey of kind of like the buying cycle is quite familiar to a lot of marketers and probably to you guys as well. But the important bit at the end with content is action. The final stage of action is broken down into 2 steps. The first bit of action is you want them to engage with your content. You want them to do something. That could be attend an event. That could be download a piece of information, something that they actually value enough that they'll take with them. You might want them to contact you. You might want them to actually get in contact and say, if you've got this problem, please do get in contact. But finally, one of the things that you really would like from your audience, once they've gone through this journey, is you want them to become part of your content plan. You want them to share that information. And you've got to make that really easy to do. Because people will, if they find it valuable, they will share it. But not if it's really hard, not if they've got to kind of like jump through loads of hoops. They'll probably kind of like go, I'll do that later, push it aside. And like all of us, if you push something aside and do it later, it never happens.